Well, well, well. Haven't we got ourselves into a pickle here? BBC, The Sun, you really, really do know how to put on a show. But who is telling the truth? One or the other, or neither? It's unlikely to be both, isn't it? That's the only guarantee. So, let's break this down a smidge. I did a video the other day, obviously, that outlined the basic facts on this case, where the BBC unnamed presenter, and now if you've been watching out, you probably already know who it is, but I ran the story of how this presenter paid for £35,000 for sexual images and things of a 17-year-old child at the time, but it ran for 3 years, and this child is now a 20-year-old, so it gets very murky, shall we say. But even murkier after yesterday's revelation that this young person involved has denied all claims via their lawyer, and this is what they had to say. In their letter sent on Monday to the BBC, the lawyer says the young person sent a message on WhatsApp to the paper on Friday evening denying the claims, saying the statement their mother made to the newspaper was totally wrong and there was no truth to it. Nonetheless, the lawyer added, the Sun newspaper proceeded to publish their inappropriate article. For the avoidance of doubt, nothing inappropriate or unlawful has taken place between our client and the BBC personality, and the allegations reported in the Sun newspaper are rubbish. So, where does that leave us? Well, my thoughts initially on this are that, firstly, the young person has denied it via a lawyer, obviously here, but very crucially, it states that the young person involved messaged the Sun on Friday evening after the story had run, stating that it was categorically not true and there was no truth to it, basically. And yet, this is so important, I can't believe I even have to tell the Sun this, and yet after they are aware that it is not true, they continue to run the story and have run many, many articles since. Now, I just want to ask the Sun just this one question. What the fuck are you doing? Honestly, if you have a story, right, and the person that the story is about, the main character, in this case being the young person, and they come to you and say, it's rubbish, it's not true, it's lies, for whatever reason, you don't run that story because you don't have a story. If the person that it's about is saying, no, it's not true, then you can't run the story. That person is an adult, right? I mean, I know when it started, they were a child, 17, but now the person is an adult and has autonomy over what they say, what gets out there about them, about the story that's been put out. You have to run it by them first. And the other incredible thing is that having gotten this knowledge that it's not true, or at least the person concerned has refuted the claims, not once have you actually published in your crappy little newspaper that these claims were refuted by the young person involved. That is crucial, absolutely crucial information to pass on to your readers, that this has been denied. Absolutely scandalous reporting at the very best, right? At the worst, it's just downright lying and deceiving your viewers, your audience. It's just ridiculous. My very next thought was, how has this young person, who is apparently destitute because they have taken so badly to, drugs with all the money that they've been given, how have they managed to afford a top lawyer in London? A top lawyer, as has been reported, in London. And how have they managed to afford that, given that they are basically on their knees with all this drug money? So that would be my concern there. Possibly, and it's been suggested, but possibly this TV presenter involved has paid for the lawyer themselves, which is highly dubious. I mean, if the law firm know that the money's coming from this person, it's very messy. Okay, I don't know. That's only speculation, whether or not who's paid for it, basically. But then again, even if the presenter has paid for it, is that evidence of any wrongdoing? I don't know. But the Sun quickly got onto this and refuted or counterclaimed against, counterclaim, whatever, right? They put their point across on this one. We have reported a story about two very concerned parents who have made a complaint to the BBC about the behaviour of a presenter and the welfare of their child. Their complaint was not acted upon by the BBC. We have seen evidence that supports their concerns. It's now for the BBC to properly investigate. And investigate they are doing in their own inimitable way, I guess. It's what they could be. I don't know. This is what the BBC have had to say over the whole affair. In a statement on Sunday announcing a staff member had been suspended, the BBC said it was working as fast as possible to establish the facts in order to properly inform appropriate next steps. The BBC first became aware of a complaint in May, it said. New allegations were put to us on Thursday of a different nature, and in addition to our own inquiries, we have also been in touch with external authorities in line with our protocols. It added that the corporation expected to be in a position to provide a further update on the process in the coming days. So, what about that? The BBC doing their bit. Apparently, they received an initial complaint on the 19th of May this year, and it wasn't acted upon, according to the family. So what actually did happen? In an interview with The Sun, the mother said the family complained to the BBC in May and grew frustrated the star was still on air a month later. She told how the teen used the money from the presenter to feed a spiralling hard drug addiction. The distraught mother said they went from a happy-go-lucky youngster to a ghost-like crack addict in just 3 years. So those are the claims from the mother, and that they just wanted it all to stop and for the presenter to stop sending money to fund this habit. But after the young person denied the article and denied everything that's happened. Their mother had to come out and say that they stand by the account. She said, "It is sad, but we stand by our account and we hope they get the help they need." I don't know if they're referring to the presenter, the BBC, or their child. "We did this to help, and the presenter got into their head. How did they afford a lawyer?" As I alluded to earlier, the exact point. "We are so sad." The stepfather added, "We are disappointed," they made a statement. "It's not true." And the son never wants to pass up the opportunity to insert themselves into a storyline, has weighed in on the whole denial and have said the 20-year-old's mother and stepfather have both given the son detailed sworn affidavits outlining their claims. They approached the son, making it clear they wanted no payment. The mother said, "All I want is for this man to stop paying for my child for sexual pictures and stop him funding my child's drug habit." Emails seen by the son show the stepfather told the Beeb on May 19th of bank statements detailing huge payments from the TV star. The family said they complained to the BBC hours after the presenter tried to meet the youngster at a train station. This gets even more bizarre. The problem that I'm finding with this whole story is that the Sun are dropping bits of information here, there and everywhere and not really including it in the overall story. So you have to really go looking for the information that they've put somewhere. The stepdad insists he only wanted the star to stop sending cash. So he added, "Without the money, my partner's child would have no drugs." The stepdad revealed he told Beeb bosses they had screenshots of contact between their child and the star. He said, "We put the allegations to them for an hour, but the presenter remained on air and was not even spoken to until the Sun contacted the BBC last week." And this is where obviously the BBC are taking a huge amount of rap for their handling of it, and rightly so. I just think the whole narrative of if they didn't have the money, they wouldn't get into drugs, or they wouldn't be able to pay for drugs. It's a whole different level of stupidity, that kind of narrative, because anybody at any point can, and you don't know for certain. Obviously, the money isn't helping the situation. However, what you do with it now, you need to get your child help rather than just focus on like going to the Sun every 2 days, because the Sun are not the be all and end all when it comes to morality, and we'll get onto that in a minute. But he went on to say this: "The stepfather accused the BBC of lying after it said new allegations emerged, leading to the star's suspension on Sunday. The stepdad said he was told the new claims were that the youngster was 17 when contact began with the presenter. He fumed. They're not telling the truth. I told them the youngster was 20 and it had been going on for 3 years." So I'm getting this sense, and I may be completely wrong. Okay, so I feel like it's a miscommunication, possibly. He actually say it started when their child was 17? Were those actual words that came out of his mouth to them, or did he say my child is 20 and it's been going on for 3 years? I mean, I know what you're gonna say. I know it sounds obvious that 3 years back would be 17, but that would involve some level of intelligence on the other end of the line. I'm just saying, was there a miscommunication? Did they not realize that the child was 17 at the time? Or did they maybe think, or just hear the words 20 and just think, well, what's the problem? I'm not defending the BBC on this, but I'm just trying to think, was there a level of miscommunication that just didn't filter through to the proper higher ups because they didn't think it was serious? Well, they should have done. But he added, I told the BBC I had gone to the police in desperation, but they couldn't do anything as they said it wasn't illegal. They knew all of this. Now, this is the bit that I don't get, right? I don't get it. See, if they had gone, it feels like a very scattered, like, reporting of it initially. Did they not know what they were doing? Because he went to the BBC. The family went to the BBC after they went to the police, according to this, and the police told them there'd been no illegal activity taken place. However, if they had said to the police, my child was 17 and she was being paid for explicit photos, then the police would not have said there was no illegal activity taking place, because there was. Now, did they again say my child is 20 and it's been going on for 3 years, and again for some incredibleness went on and nobody picked up on the fact that it was 17? I don't know. There's something not quite right with this story. It feels like initially the reporting of the events were kind of all over the place. Maybe it's as all over the place as it is now, because it feels like something wasn't reported correctly and nobody understood what was going on, because there's a lot of heat on the BBC right now about how they've dealt with it, because they didn't do anything with it. However, he's also gone to the police, and the police have said the same thing basically and done nothing because they can't do anything because it's not illegal. And yet it is, if those pictures were taken and paid for by the presenter when this person was 17. So again, it begs that question: did they report it in the correct manner and the way it should have been? He went on to say he also said the money did not stop, adding, I don't even think they spoke to him. The BBC say they did call the family in June, but nobody picked up. And that's another thing. What if there was this serious thing that was going on within their corporation, and they decided to follow it up, but nobody picked up? Did they think that was the end of their investigation? Did they not think that maybe they could like call back or something, leave a message, anything? No? Or just think that well, you know, maybe they're not picking up because they've forgotten about it, or they're not bothered about it anymore. The whole thing gets a little bit more bizarre and a bit iffy. Earlier this year, I heard him on the phone saying to my child, I told you not to effing ring me. It was shocking, as I'd see how he would act on the telly, and then he would say stuff like that. So I have questions, okay? I do have questions, but the mother knew then that their child has some form of relationship with this man prior to finding out that he'd been paying for the pictures and things, and prior to finding out that he had been on video calls with his pants down, that sort of thing, right? So she knew that. I don't get it. I'm finding it difficult to understand. I don't get it. She knew that they had some form of relationship. She knew they had some form of contact. And why did they think that their child had the phone number of a famous TV presenter? Why did they know, or why did they not think, why does this much older TV presenter have the phone number of my child? Did they not think that that was a little bit odd, even before they found out all the other stuff? Something's not really ringing true in my head. I'm sorry. It's a little bit iffy. Then you add to it the whole, the meeting at the train station. They were about to meet at the train station. So I don't know. Was there more to this relationship? Obviously, the child, the young person concerned, has taken back everything the family has said and said it's rubbish. So irrespective of anything else, the son should have closed their story down and shut it down, because there's no story. And it's very, very messy. But the son inserting themselves in this is so morally corrupt, it's untrue. They printed this. It is a criminal offence to make, distribute or possess an indecent image of anyone under 18 under the Protection of Children Act. Excellent advice, and absolutely true. I would say then to you, the moral police of the internet, how come during my research for this video, I came across images still online, right? Bear in mind, I know this was back in the day, it was not illegal, so I'll give you that. But remember when you had your page 3 thing, and you, in the 80s, you didn't have to be 18. I don't know why, it just seems very, very bad to me now. But you used to print pictures of 16-year-old girls, schoolgirls. Samantha Fox, anybody ring any bells? The Sun editorial crap team, right? You know, they printed Sam Fox when she was actually a schoolgirl. She took photos, and then the next day she went into school, went into school, and her topless pictures were in the Sun newspaper when she was at school. I find that incredible. So when you come and say this TV presenter shouldn't be paying for pictures of 17-year-old girls, and then you have also paid for pictures for 16-year-old schoolgirls, I'm sorry, it kind of comes across as a little bit hypocritical, just a smidge, right? As I said, back then it wasn't illegal. However, it is now, and those pictures are still online. Have you made any attempts to remove them at all? Because I know people can upload pictures, but it's just, it feels quite wrong for the Sun to be coming at with this particular moral standpoint when they have been very, very morally corrupt in the past. And then not to mention the whole Hillsborough incident, obviously, that is the main thing. Now, I personally think that if this person has told the Sun, and it's proven that the young person told the son that the story was false, irrespective of whether or not there was a point or a case to prove or whatever, I think the son should be shut down. That is my point of view, because firstly, the son just doesn't stand for any good purpose whatsoever. But if they have taken a story which has unleashed this entire shitstorm all over the internet, all over the country, and has caused heartache to many different TV presenters, not just the one concerned, then there's the one concerned, then there's the BBC, and then there's the young child involved, the whole thing, and they were the ones that started it, and they didn't have to, because they were told that there was no story. And not least, they didn't even print a retraction or have a little excerpt at the end of the article to say the person has refuted the claims. Nothing. They just went ahead and did what the Sun always does and just printed crap, whatever they wanted to print. Now, I'm not saying that nothing actually happened, but I think there's a line, and we don't know where it stands because we don't know the full facts. Nobody knows the facts. And there's a line there between a 17 and an 18-year-old. Now, what happened at the age of 17, and how many months how much before 18 were they at the time when anything took place? And this information we don't know. Also, the Sun didn't print any form of proof backing up their story. I'm not saying that they should print like personal information or anything like that. They said that they had emails about the bank statements. Now, they could have printed an email and redacted like private information, something to show that they actually had information. But what they're doing is printing a story based on nothing that anybody else is privy to. Nobody else in any other newspaper or news outlet has seen any proof. They are all reporting what the Sun has told them, and we all know what the Sun thinks about the truth. Just think about that. So, with that being said, that's all I have to say on this for now. I'll keep everybody updated if you'd like me to. And until next time, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. And comment what you think about this down below. But keep it respectful, obviously. People's privacy and that. Until next time, have a lovely day. Take care of yourselves and bye-bye.